you probably like to know.
Yeah.
I was drafted on December 8th, 1964.
All right.
And there was another fellow from Minneapolis got drafted on the same date. His name was Terry Blakeman. That would be Linda Blakeman's deceased husband.
Okay.
And there was another fellow from Minneapolis that he joined the Army, and with the stipulation that he could serve in basic training with myself and Terry.
Yeah.
His name was Denzel Scales.
Okay.
And the Scales family is not around here anymore. Okay, what do you want me to start out with?
Okay, so my first question is, like, obviously what war? So you were in Vietnam?
Yes.
And did you have to attend basic training, like, before you went overseas?
Oh, definitely so, yeah. Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh, okay. And what was it like at basic training? Like, what did you have to do?
Well, a little bit of everything. Mostly it was physical training.
Okay.
And, learn how to, of course, fire a rifle and everything like that.
How long were you there at basic training for?
About 8.5 weeks.
Oh, okay. Was that like the common amount of time that people were at basic training?
Yeah, that was pretty much a standard procedure.
Were there a lot of people there?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Like thousands of people there for training, or was it like a couple hundred?
Oh, no, there were several thousand training.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And would you all go together over to Vietnam? Or
No.
were there separate?
No, after 8.5 weeks of basic training, we got split up. Some guys went to California, some guys went to Kentucky, did various posts for additional training.
Okay, that's cool. And would they tell you what you were gonna do in your service?
After about I don't know, 6-7 weeks of basic, we pretty well got notified what was going to go next for advanced individual training, they called it, AIT. And while we were in basic training, they gave us aptitude tests.
Okay.
And that was pretty well to determine how well you would do in certain occupation, I guess I got kind of lucky. I passed my tests and wound up going to Fort Rucker, Alabama for aircraft maintenance training.
Oh, okay.
In other words, I was going to train to become an aircraft mechanic.
Oh, okay. So then you were sent over to Vietnam to do that?
After, let me see, graduated from basic training on 4th of March 1965 and went home for a couple weeks. And then we went to Fort Rucker, Alabama. And we're down there for, let me see, 4, 8, 12, about 16 weeks down there.
Oh my gosh.
And then we got transferred, I did, and I got transferred to Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Okay.
And I thought, gee whiz, this is going to be good. Because I'm only 325 miles from home.
Yeah.
I can come home every other month, for a weekend. Okay, so we got down to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and checked in at the main gate, and one of the guys at the main gate said, "Oh, you just came from training in Fort Rucker, Alabama, yeah? Well, you're going to be one of those companies that's going to ship out for Vietnam in a couple months." I said, "Where's Vietnam?"
You didn't know?
No. And they said, "Well, it's in Indochina." I said, "Where's that at?" They said, "Southeast Asia." I said, "That's a long ways away. What are we going to do there?"
Yeah. So you didn't even know about the war?
And once I got into my company down at Fort Campbell, and they said, looking at my records, they said, "Well, you've been through aviation maintenance school in Fort Rucker, but just airplanes, and this is a helicopter outfit." I said, "Oh, yeah, okay." "Oh, that's okay. We'll send you for additional training while you're on your way to Vietnam." I said, "How are we going to do that?" "Well, we're going over on a boat, and it takes 28 days to get there."
Wow.
Okay, so all right.
So how many people were on the boat?
Oh my! It was a troop ship, and there were something like 3,000 people on that boat, that ship,
Wow.
and that doesn't include a 300-member crew.
Yeah.
So
That's
there
a,
were,
That's a big boat.
yeah, it was a troop ship,
Okay.
and it took us 28 days to go from San Francisco to Indochina, Vietnam.
Yeah. Where did you like
Well,
end up in Vietnam? Like, do you know where you were at?
oh yeah, now I do. While I was on board ship, I didn't have to pull any duty like kitchen police or guard duty or anything like that. I went
Yeah.
to school on
Okay.
board ship, and there was a fellow from Bell Helicopter Company that taught school, taught us how to work on helicopters. And so we spent about probably, I don't know, 25 days just going to school on board ship, which was fun because we were going across the North Pacific and the ship was going like this. Pardon me. And the movie screen was like this, and the projector was going like this.
Oh my
You guys were
gosh.
getting seasick. I never got seasick.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
How old were you at this time?
Oh, I was 20. Let me see. Was I 21? Yeah, I was 21.
And you used to live. You lived in Illiopolis, right?
yeah,
Before
yeah.
you were
Yeah. Yep.
drafted. Okay, so then did you keep the same like specialty throughout your whole time at Vietnam?
Well, I had more than one specialty. When I first got there, they classified me as a helicopter crew chief,
Okay.
which would be part of the air crew. Did a lot of flying in
Yeah.
helicopters, Hueys. And I was a helicopter crew chief for 5 months. And I came back from a mission one day, and they said, "Oh, you've been transferred." I said, "Huh? Transferred? Well, what for?" "Well, they're short on personnel at Vung Tau for the 73rd Aviation Company." "Oh, the Mohawk units, huh?" "Yeah. We see that you've been to school on ejection seats." I said, "Well, yeah, I took ejection seat training." "Well, you're going to 73rd. So I packed all my stuff up and on my way to Vietnam. I found my way to Vung Tau, the 73rd, and I spent 7 months there. Then I came home.
So you were there. How long? How long was the total time you were at Vietnam?
1 year, 12
Okay.
months.
What was the most memorable experience like while you were over there? Like, do you have
Flying-
any like funny stories or?
Well, not too many funny stories, but flying in inclement weather. It was raining most of the time and hot and humid.
Yeah. But you never got sick though?
I never
From
got
it?
airsick, no. That's why they made me a crew chief. I went up for a flight and I liked it so much.
Yeah.
They said, "Well, you like that,
That's
huh?"
what you
"Yeah."
got to do?
Yeah. So we'll make you a crew chief. Okay.
Yeah. Did you like meet anyone that like really like touched you? Like, did you like have any like friends over there? Like anyone that you like connected with?
Well, some of the guys I went to school with, actually,
Oh, like the ones that you told me about at the beginning?
yeah. One guy from North Dakota was in the same barracks I was at in basic training, and we went through all the tech schools together and basically came home. And was from North Dakota, and he flew as a crew chief also in a different bird, and he got transferred to Vung Tau about 2 weeks after I did.
All right. Was there any point that you can say you were scared, like really scared?
Oh, not really, because mostly what we did there in the helicopters was supply special forces camps,
Yeah.
food, ammunition, and medical supplies.
Yeah.
And we had a couple operations where we hauled the ROK Marines. Republic of Korea had some troops over there. We hauled them around for a couple weeks. And that was about the only, I never was really scared because
Yeah.
if you're taking fire, you can fire back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had a machine gun and went through several thousand rounds of ammunition in it.
So you did see combat,
Yeah.
like while you were there?
Yeah, about 3 weeks of it. Yeah, about 3 weeks of it.
All right. And like, what was like day-to-day life like as a soldier, and like being over there and
Oh, it was
and
hot,
serving?
humid. A lot of times it was rainy.
Yeah. Would you get to sleep a lot,
Uh,
or would you only sleep like a couple hours every night?
well, I'll tell you what. There was times when I slept in a helicopter, and lived in a tent for 5 months. When I was in the helicopters,
Yeah.
about 5 months, I lived in a tent, and once I got transferred to that Mohawk unit, why they had barracks. It was a fairly modern airfield,
Yeah.
and so that made it a lot better.
Yeah.
It was just like a 9-to-5 job then, working on those fixed-wing aircraft.
Yeah. What was civilian life like there in Vietnam? Like
Oh,
like the Vietnamese. What were they like? Like
well, I'll tell you what, it was kind of like a tribal society. You had the people that lived in the cities. They were influenced by the French before we got there, of course.
yeah.
And the people out in the country, they were like 100 years behind times. They were primitive type people. But the people in the city, they wore, Western type clothes and everything. And the people out in the country weren't so well off,
Yeah.
Believe it or not, they raised a lot of hogs over there. Yeah, they did. And water buffalo. Instead of cattle, they had water buffalo.
Water buffalo. Okay. Okay, was Vietnam the war when they did like the hit and run, or was that in Korea? You know,
what?
the guerrilla warfare?
Oh, that was in Vietnam.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought
Oh, yeah.
so. I thought
Yeah.
we learned about that.
Yeah.
What was that type of warfare like?
Well, you didn't know who your friend
Yeah,
was, and you
yeah.
didn't know who your enemy was,
Yeah.
basically.
What was that like for you?
It didn't really affect me that much. Yeah.
Would you get like paranoid about
No, I
who
didn't
was
get
around
paranoid.
you or not?
To me, it was I tell you what, I was young, and it was
Kind of fearless?
It was like a great adventure to me.
Well, that's a cool way to look at it.
Well, I figured it would be okay, and
Yeah,
I enjoyed flying in the helicopters.
yeah. That's neat.
I just considered it an adventure,
Yeah,
and it was really.
that's an awesome way to look back at it. What was the food like?
The food. Well, a lot of rice, of course,
Yeah.
and most of the food was slow cooked.
Okay.
So it was okay. I didn't eat much civilian food. Mostly ate on the base,
Yeah.
But when I did go downtown and eat civilian food, it was good. There was a place in the Central Highlands It was called Dalat, D-A-L-A-T, and it was a fairly modern city. I suppose they had a population of maybe 20,000 people. The government had a military academy there. The French, of course, had built it, and it was nice, beautiful buildings stuck
Okay.
up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And those people, they were good gardeners. They raised gardens. I had went downtown, I don't know, 3 or 4 times when we'd stayed overnight at the air base there. Went downtown the next morning and had some breakfast, and they had fresh strawberries, and they were huge. One of them would fill this coffee cup.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
it was just delicious. The fruit over there was delicious too.
Yeah.
They had bananas, and they were short and fat, about that big around, and they were green, and you let them ripen on a tree till they started to turn yellow, and you pick them off the tree and peel them, and they were just absolutely delicious,
That does sound
real
good.
sweet.
Yeah.
And I called them oranges, but they called them something else. They were about that big around. And you could peel them just like an orange, and it was
Yeah.
so good, delicious. The fruit was absolutely. And pineapples, the pineapples were just awesome. They were about half the size of a Hawaiian pineapple, and they were absolutely
Just good.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Okay, so were you in the same town like the whole time, like the same area, or would you like move places in Vietnam?
We moved from place to place when I was in the helicopters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but after I got transferred to that base where I had those funny-looking Mohawk airplanes, that was the base I stayed at most. I was there 7 months, and then I came back home.
Okay.
We'll talk about taking pictures. Now, somewhere at home I've got slide pictures,
Okay.
color slides.
Yeah.
And I did that because the film.
Wait, how'd you get the slide pictures?
Okay, here's what I did. I went to the PX and I bought slide film for
Okay.
my cameras. And I take the picture, take it back to PX, and they would ship it to Hawaii.
Okay.
And they developed it there in Hawaii and send it right on to my home.
Wow, that's cool. So that's how you like kept in contact with your family?
One way, yeah,
Yeah.
and letters, of course, you know.
That's neat.
But the conditions, it was so hot and humid, it would just spoil film really quick. So you had to
Yeah.
take pictures and get it.
Send them back
Yeah,
right
get it
away.
back out of there and get it to Hawaii, and then develop them and then ship them on to your home.
That's neat.
I thought
That's
it was.
cool. Yeah. Do you still have some of the pictures?
Yeah, somewhere at home. I
That's
put them
cool.
in those rotary
Yeah.
slide trays,
That's really neat to have.
and they're at home in a one of my closets, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So how often would you get letters?
Oh my. My grandparents.
Was it consistent, or would they get like lost in the mail? a
No,
lot?
they wouldn't get lost at all.
Oh, they'd get right to you?
I'd average about a letter from my parents and my grandparents and a couple of girls I dated in school,
Yeah.
high school, or right after high school. I would get probably every 3 or 4 days I'd get a letter in the mail.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, it kept me busy writing,
Yeah,
answering
writing.
them back, you know.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
So, do you have anything else you want to talk about or like bring up that I missed? Like anything else interesting?
Well, the cities. Well, of course, this country was colonized by the French 100 and some years before we got there.
Yeah.
And so in the cities, all the buildings were French architecture.
Okay.
And every city had more 4,000 or 5,000 people. It had a hotel. They call it the Grand Hotel.
Okay. Would most people live in the cities there, or was it like more like rural living?
I would say that it was 50-50.
Okay. So like spread out. Like
Yeah, it was
like
really
it's-
spread out.
Okay. Was it common for people to like live in the jungles or not really? Because like,
I tell you what, the people didn't really live in the jungles and build tree houses or anything
Yeah.
like that.
but okay, but like,
They cultivated crops in the field, grow a lot of rice,
okay,
and have dikes around about a third of an acre, and then they'd have it flooded with water, and they'd grow rice. And of course they had slaughterhouses, and they slaughtered a lot of buffalo, water buffalo. If water buffalo would get 10 years old, then they'd take it to slaughter, because we do it with cattle now, and then they're not 10 years old. But
yeah,
the water buffalo was a beast of burden, and they used to use them in rice paddies for cultivating and planting rice and all that.
yeah. What else were you gonna say about the cities?
Oh, the cities, they were fairly modern. They had electricity, and some of them had, running water, and even a couple of bigger cities had sewer systems. But everything was, billboards and everything, you couldn't read them unless you could understand Vietnamese, because it was all that gibberish,
Yeah.
But the cars, a lot of French cars over there.
Oh, okay.
Citroen,
So,
Simca, Renault.
so were the people over there like, were they all of like Vietnamese descent, or were there people of French like descent?
Well, I tell you what, they were. Some of them were Vietnamese and French, but they're all basically multilingual. In other words, they spoke Vietnamese, and a lot of them spoke French, and they picked up on English right away.
Well, that's cool.
Oh, I thought so too.
Yeah.
I never did learn Vietnamese, but
Yeah.
I wasn't over there long enough.
Yeah.
And I was busy doing other things, or
Yeah.
flying in helicopters and working on them and all
Yeah.
that. But
That's neat.
it was an adventure. I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah. Okay.
A
So,
lot of guys didn't, because they were infantrymen and had to go out in the jungle and
Yeah.
fight,
yeah.
But I didn't have that problem.
Yeah. Okay, so we learned about in class that there was like a lot of controversy like back home about like the war. Like, did that like affect you over in Vietnam
No,
or
it didn't
not?
really. I tell you what, the big thing was the draft.
Yeah.
That was the
the
big
hardest
thing.
part for you.
No, it wasn't the hardest part
Oh.
for me, but it was that
Hardest
was where the whole controversy started, because they were
Okay.
drafting people, and
Were some people not happy with the situation?
well, a bunch of people wasn't happy with the situation. Actually,
They were mad.
is that an iPad?
No, it's like an Apple Mac. Like
Okay.
it's like my computer. I just got it for Christmas.
That's a nice one. That's a nice
Thanks.
one.
Yeah, I was really excited
an
when I got it
iPhone
because I use it for
6S.
school.
And
Oh yeah,
I have going to have to charge it up. It's just about out of battery power.
yeah, yeah.
Your
I
Samsung?
I love my phone. No, I have an iPhone too. It's just like an iPhone. I think it's like a 6 or 7 Plus. So it has
Okay.
like the bigger screen.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yours probably about an iPhone 7 or something.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think I just got the bigger screen because I like it.
Yeah.
I like to be a little bigger.
I've had mine a couple of years, and I haven't even messed with it to get familiar, really. I just use it to talk on.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And so, okay, so we did learn a lot. Like the morale was super low. Like,
Well-
did you get any sense of that? Like,
I tell you, I was over there early on, before the Tet Offensive. And,
Okay.
So I really didn't get involved too much in that. No.
yeah. And then you got to come back after a year, though.
Yeah.
Because that was like the deal, wasn't it? You
Oh
were
yeah, I was
only
tour
like
of duty. It
stationed.
was 12 months.
Yeah. How did you feel like when you were you ready to come back home, or were you just
Oh, yeah,
like
I
would
was-
you like wait and be like counting down the days to come
Oh,
home?
everybody did that.
Yeah.
Everybody did that. Yeah. Once you get, if you were 90 days, that's 3 months. If you got 90 days left, they called you short
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. We learned that like the tour of duty like really affected like how the soldiers would perform because they were just ready to like stay alive and just go home?
Well,
Like,
yes,
did-
that's true. And
Do you
basically, that was a lot of that was based on the people had to go out in the jungle and
Yeah.
the infantrymen.
Yeah. Do you think that like hurt our efforts in the war because there were like new people coming in and then coming out and like some?
Well, it didn't do it any good.
Yeah. But you don't think it really like?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't have a morale problem. I didn't see
Yeah.
a morale problem in my company.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But,
Good attitude.
like I say, if you were, in the infantry or out in the jungle, well, it'd be a different problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like your trip home? How was it like?
It was good. We got on an airplane at Tan Son Nhut, which is Ho Chi Minh City now,
Okay.
and we flew to Okinawa and landed and refueled, and everybody got off and had something to eat, and everything. And a
Yeah.
couple hours later, we got back on the plane and zoom from Okinawa nonstop.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to get home and like total?
Oh,
like
I don't know. It was 8, 9 hours probably in the air.
that's quick.
That's not bad.
No.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. And then what was it like when you came home? Like when you were back on U.S. soil?
Oh, it wasn't much different from when I left.
It was the same.
Kids
thing?
have grown up, of
Yeah.
course. And
Yeah.
a couple of my running mates were still around, so hooked up with them and carried on.
Yeah. What did it upset you that like the Vietnam War was so controversial?
Oh, not really, no. No, it's, different strokes for different
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the opportunity to, I was working at Caterpillar before I got drafted, so I went back to my job at Caterpillar, and I really didn't like it after Vietnam because of the noise there in the plant and all that. And I had a chance to go to airline training school
Oh, okay.
on the GI Bill, so I took that opportunity,
Yeah.
quit Caterpillar and went to Kansas City, Missouri,
That's neat.
and went through airline training school out there. I got a job with Ozark Airlines in Chicago.
That's cool.
So I went up there.
Vietnam really opened up like some opportunities for
Yeah,
you.
it did. It opened
That's
up
cool.
some opportunities for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
That's neat. So like, other than that, has it like affected like your daily life like today?
Oh, well, I'm retired now, but I mean, no, it doesn't bother me a bit.
Well, that's good. And then, do you remember like when you got there, like what your first day was like? Like, do you remember your first day? Like
Where-
what you were thinking?
You mean over there?
Yeah, in Vietnam, like what was going through your head?
It was raining.
Yeah,
The tent was leaking, so we had to fix that leak.
yeah,
And then we had to go do some flying, so we went out and got the helicopter ready to go and
Yeah.
started it up. Did a little flying that day.
yeah.
So it just started the procedure. And it was
Yeah.
pretty smooth from then on.
Well, that's good.
Took about 3 weeks to get accustomed and used to the weather. The weather was it was just something else. It was so humid and so hot.
And it would rain a lot, wouldn't it?
It'd rain a lot
in the
too.
jungle.
Oh, well, I wasn't in the jungle. I flew
Okay.
over it.
Okay.
Actually,
But you never like fought in the jungle or anything.
No, no,
You just
no.
like you'd shoot down, right?
Yeah,
From the
and-
helicopters.
we hauled supplies into clearings in the jungle, and the troops would pick up the supplies and use them. I will say this much: flying over the terrain,
Yeah.
Vietnam was a beautiful country. It really was beautiful. All lush and green, and you'd be
Yeah.
up there 2,000 feet flying along and look down, and it was nice. It was a beautiful
Yeah.
country.
Yeah. Did you like what were the animals like there? And, like did you like
Well, they had a lot of, I would
in
say,
the scenery?
they had donkeys. They looked like Shetland ponies, but they were called donkeys.
Okay.
And they used them for hitching them up to little two-wheel carts. And, they had a lot of water buffalo. They used them for, tilling their fields and harvesting their fields whenever they could. And there were some beautiful birds over there. Oh, the birds were just beautiful.
They were.
Yeah. They had a lot of, I called them cranes. They look like, tall, slender bird, all white feathers with little black speckles in them. And they were some sort of a crane. And they would fly in flocks of 50 to 60. And they had lizards over there. And they had a lot of snakes too.
Yeah.
But the lizards were various sizes. They had little tiny ones that would crawl up the wall, crawl across the ceiling. They were called geckos. And then had bigger lizards too.
That's neat.
And anthills, they had ants.
They did.
A lot of ants, a lot of insects.
You didn't have to deal with all that stuff as much though, right? Because you weren't on the ground.
Yeah, I didn't have to deal with all those wildlife like the people walking around on the ground and in the jungle, the infantrymen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did the people in Vietnam, what did they what did they think of you?
Well, a lot of them called me Four Eyes because I wore glasses. Hey, Four Eye. And when I first got over there, I had been to Mexico before I got into the service. Mm-hmm. Just visiting,
Yeah.
And it reminded me a lot of Mexico. The cities and the people in the country. It really wasn't quite comparable.
Okay. So do you think the
they had
people
dark skin and black hair.
Yeah. Do you think the people were thankful that you came?
Well, I don't know if they were thankful, but
they didn't really mind.
They didn't mind, and they liked the money we spent on them. I mean, we were big spenders,
Yeah. So they liked that.
Oh yeah.
So we learned a lot about the Viet Cong. Did you ever have any experiences with the Viet Cong?
They were kind of aloof and. They operated at night mostly.
Oh, okay.
But you couldn't tell you couldn't tell Viet Cong from an ordinary Vietnamese.
So that was hard.
They just operated in the daytime just like an ordinary person,
Yeah.
But at night they changed their modus
Demeanor.
operandi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But all in all, I can say that I didn't regret not going.
Yeah.
And when I got back, then it was a little different because everybody was against it, the newspapers and the television, this and that, But I can't say nothing real bad about it. It was just an adventure as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
my great adventure.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
But like I say, I kind of got lucky. I was in aviation and did a lot of flying around over there, and so that was a little benefit for me.
Yeah. Well, it was really nice to hear about your experience.
Yeah, I didn't.
Really cool.
I didn't hate it. I wasn't too happy with the climate, but
but you got used to it. You said after a couple weeks.
After about 3 weeks, you get used to it. The heat and humidity.
Yeah. So, were you with the same people every day? You'd do the same things?
Basically, yes.
And then you'd sleep in a tent every night, or would you sleep in a building?
Well, for the first 5 months, I slept in a tent. We had a folding cot, and we had a mosquito net we put over the cot, so keep the mosquitoes from biting you.
Okay. In the first 5 months, you were flying helicopters.
Yeah.
And then what'd you do after the first 5 months? You were still flying.
Well, not so much after that.
Then what did you do?
Mostly work on airplanes.
Okay. You worked on fixing them and
Yeah.
Okay.
Move and replace parts mostly.
Okay. Cool. The technological part of things.
Yep, that's right.
That's neat.
Yep. So I really can't say I hated it, because I didn't. I considered it an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. So like after the first 5 months, when you were doing like the technological parts of like the airplanes,
Yeah.
where were you stationed, and like where would you sleep?
Well, I tell you, the first 5 months I was in the helicopters in various places, to base out of. But the last 7 months, I was at an airfield, an old French airfield. Heck, the Japanese had it in World War II,
Yeah.
and you could see on certain buildings French writing and then Japanese writing, that Chinese type stuff, symbols.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And Vung Tau was the name of that airfield, and it was about 5 miles from the city, and it was on the seacoast.
Okay.
And I liked it there. Heck, it was an in-country R&R center. They made an R&R center there at Vung Tau before I left,
Yeah.
so it was okay.
Yeah. Do you think that like our involvement in the war, like the Vietnam War, was a mistake for our country, or do you think it was
Well,
beneficial?
I'll tell you what, I don't know, I can't say it was a mistake, a complete mistake, but
Yeah.
It sure cost a lot of lives and
Yeah.
cost a lot of money.
Yeah. But do you like believe in the domino theory, like they call it, like if one
Nah.
country falls to communism, then the rest of the world?
Nah,
You don't think that that's true?
nah, that was a big lie.
Yeah.
That was a big lie.
What do you think that was all about?
I just wanted, these defense contractors and politicians wanted to perpetuate it. They was making money off of it.
Yeah. Getting people all excited and
Well, that's true, but
do it.
it's one of those things.
Just happened. Well, you had a pretty neat story.
Well, my perspective might be different from a lot of other guys.
Yeah.
But I was always kind of a daredevil when I was in
Yeah.
high school. So
I think it's really cool that you looked at it in like the positive manner.
yeah, I wasn't. I didn't hate it. I wasn't happy with the weather, but you learn to deal with that.
Yeah.
Just like we do around here.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, I'd say I had a pretty good time.
Yeah. Do you have like any memories, like any like experiences that you just will never forget?
Oh my gosh, there was a bunch of them.
Okay, well, can you tell me some of them?
Well, flying in formation, 3 or 4 helicopters, and flying in inclement weather. See, when you're in a helicopter, you got this big rotor blade. It's whirling around.
Yeah.
And if you're flying close to each other, you got to be careful, because if you hit that rotor
Yeah.
blade, you're all going down.
Yeah. So that was pretty scary.
It was a little scary, yeah. And it was raining so hard, sometimes, you look out there and see the helicopter, and all of a sudden you couldn't see it anymore. And then
Yeah.
a couple seconds later, it'd come back because of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Visibility.
Would you actually fly the planes, or
No,
would you
I
just...
was a crew chief. They had
Okay.
a pilot and a co-pilot.
Okay. So you were the what would you do? Were you...
Well, I was in charge of making sure the damn thing was ready to fly.
Okay. All right. And then you just oversaw that everything was going okay while you were
Yeah.
flying?
I had to pull a daily inspection, make sure all the bolts and nuts are tightened, and
Yeah.
everything was, all the safety wires was on and everything. And then the pilot and co-pilot would show up, and they'd pull a pre-flight inspection.
Yeah. When you said earlier, like, how, like, if someone was shooting at you, you'd shoot back.
Oh yeah, we
Like-
had a couple of machine guns on the side of the helicopter.
Oh, so if someone started shooting at you guys, then you'd just
Yeah,
grab your
I had
guns and...
I called him an assistant crew chief. He was a door gunner, but
Okay.
he helped maintain the guns and make sure the ammo was okay.
Yeah.
And then he'd help me.
Would you guys commonly, like, get shot at while you were flying?
A few times, yeah, but not any real scary incident. No. Like I said, this was early on. This
Yeah,
was
before-
in 1966.
Okay. Well, that's neat.
But it was just one of those things. I just learned to live with it.
Yeah. Do you
But
think?
I enjoyed flying. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you like that.
Yeah.
So was like the second half of your time there more like relaxed than the first
It
half?
was just like an everyday job. You know, you get up at morning and maybe get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you go get breakfast, and then you go have daily formation at 0700, which is 7 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
and that probably would last maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then you go to your workstation and do what you were doing the same thing the day
Yeah.
before.
How long would you do that for? Like once breakfast and everything was over in the morning?
Yeah.
Because breakfast was at 7,
Yeah,
right?
basically. Uh-huh.
And then, so you'd be done with that at about like 8, and then would you work from like 8 to like 6 or 8 to 8?
Usually 8 o'clock till about noon.
Okay.
And go to the mess hall and get a noon meal, and then about 1 o'clock get back and start doing what you were doing before.
Yeah.
Changing an engine, doing the brakes or something like that.
And then would you have dinner at like 6, or was it like it was here?
The mess hall opened up from 5 to 7, I believe it was.
Oh, okay.
So about 5:30 we go get,
And then after dinner, would you go back to your room or your tent or?
we'd go to the PX and or
What-
the EM Club, Enlisted Men's Club.
What's that?
It was just a little bar.
Oh, okay. The PX is a bar? Because you said you could buy the
Post
pictures.
exchange, you could buy.
Oh, okay. So that was
razor
like
blades.
the post office,
Yeah,
the
well,
PX.
PX was post exchange.
Okay.
You go there and it was like a Target store,
Okay, and was
you
it like
buy-
the letters like PX?
Yeah,
Okay.
that stands
That's
for
neat.
post exchange.
Okay.
And it was just a little, where you go buy shaving equipment and
Okay.
things like that.
Yeah. How was like showering? Like, was it like hard? Like that hard?
Well,
Like, was there
didn't
enough
have heated
water
water.
for like every? Oh gosh.
didn't need heated water really.
Yeah, because it was so hot.
Yeah.
So. But like, was there enough like water and supplies for
Oh,
everyone?
there's plenty of water. Water everywhere. Mud puddles and everything else. Yeah.
Were there enough supplies like soap and?
Where I was at, we had plenty of supplies. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dogs. There was a lot of dogs over there.
Dogs everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of them were a breed of shepherd, German shepherd.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot of little dogs too, little terriers.
Yeah.
I suppose the French brought
Were
them over.
would they just run wild?
No, they
Or
were
they were owned by the
domesticated.
people?
They were
By the
domesticated.
Vietnamese?
Yeah.
They owned them?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a few cats. I didn't see too many cats. I think in South Vietnam, cats were a delicacy. They ate cats. But in North Vietnam, I think they were domesticated cats that they just kept as pets,
Yeah.
But that was about it. I saw a couple of snakes over there, or big ones.
Yeah. I bet that was scary. Were they poisonous there or no?
Most of the smaller ones were, but the big one, the python, the rock python, we had one of those in Vietnam. I mean, in Vung Tau, some guy had it in a cage,
Oh my gosh.
and it was I don't know. He said it was 8, 10 years old, and he fed it like once a week.
Yeah.
But I was close to the jungle once on a road.
Yeah.
I was driving a truck and I was hauling supplies from one base to another about 20 miles, and I stopped to relieve myself and left the truck running, and I saw this apparition going through the weeds, the jungle,
Yeah.
and it was a king
Oh
cobra,
my gosh.
and it reared up like that, looked at me, and then went on. It was hunting
Wow.
something.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
bet that was really scary.
Well, I had M3 grease gun, which was a submachine gun, and I was training it on that snake. Now, that snake could come towards me, I ought to give him 25 rounds.
Yeah.
But it didn't come towards me. It just looked at me and then just, it was after something.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful, it was emerald green,
Oh my gosh.
and the belly was yellow.
Wow. That looks kind of scary.
You're reared up like that.
Oh my gosh. That tall?
You're reared up, yeah, like that.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy. So what guns would you guys use, like when you were there?
Well, when I went over there, we had the M14
Okay.
and the M60 machine gun, and then they transitioned. They were transitioning to the M16 when I left,
Okay.
and I never was issued an M16,
Okay. So
which is okay with me because I like the M14. I fired expert in basic training with it.
oh wow, that's good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's cool. I was gonna say something else. Oh yeah. Okay. So what city were you at, like for the first 5 months when you were flying?
Well, I tell you what, the first 5 months I was over there, flying up and down the seacoast. The nearest city was Nha Trang, Nhatrang,
Okay.
and it was located just right on Cam Bay.
Okay.
And we'd fly from this little place where we were stationed at was called Dong Ba Thien, and it was a special forces camp there. And we would fly from there to Nha Trang, pick up supplies, come back, fly back and forth, and we'd go down to the air base at Cam Bay. They were just building that facility when I was
Yeah.
over there.
That's neat.
And they had ships would come into Cam Bay, and they had a seaport there.
Okay.
And they had, docks and moving bundles of supplies around, and
Yeah.
had some cranes there lifting them up out of the
That's neat.
ships.
So did you get like any medals for being in the war? Like some people get. Like,
Well, the standard 3 medals was National Defense Medal, and there was a couple others, Vietnam Service Medal. I did get an air medal for
Oh, yeah.
flying
at the basic training or at like Vietnam?
Vietnam. I got an air medal.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
I was home 6 months, and all of a sudden I get a package in the mail, and it's a certificate,
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
What was that medal called again?
air medal.
Air medal?
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
Well, I thought it was okay. I mean,
That's neat to say that you have one, that you're
yeah,
like honored
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
that's about the only decoration I really got. I earned it, but
Yeah. Have you kept in contact with any of the guys you met
no,
over at Vietnam?
No, I haven't. No, I have not. I don't know where they all went to.
Yeah.
Most of them got married and started families, and they just,
Went their own ways.
went their own ways. That's
Yeah.
what we did. We just went our own way. Back to
Yeah.
civilian life.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I say, I considered it an adventure over there.
Yeah. Did you see like a lot of casualties?
No, I did not. No, I did not. No. I didn't see too many casualties.
Okay, and the people that were like passing away, like was it like Americans or was it Vietnamese
Well,
or like the Viet Cong?
you got people shooting at each other, or you're going to have
was
casualties
just
on
both,
both sides.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you see that a lot? Like,
I didn't see that too much. We just hauled some wounded back to base hospital at Tui Wa. And let's see, Quinh Nhân was closer, so we hauled them to base hospital at Quinh Nhân,
okay.
which was up the seacoast a ways.
And how do you spell that? Quinh Nhân? How do you?
Oh, Q
Is that like the name of a
I
city?
N Nhong, I think. Quinh Nhân. It's-
Quinh Nhân.
Those people were different. They liked the GIs because we were free spenders,
GIs. What does GI stand for again?
Government issue.
Okay, yeah, we just learned about that.
Yeah, government issue. Yeah,
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing your experience with me, and thanks for your service.
Okay, thank you. Like I say, I had a positive attitude when I went
Yeah.
to Army. And I got drafted. I had a positive attitude. I tried to do well in basic, which I did.
Yeah.
And then I just kept up that positive attitude for the rest of my service.
Term,
And
yeah. At basic training, did you have to do like what were the physical things that you had to do?
We had a lot of running and,
Like how far would you have to run?
I don't know, half a mile probably.
Was there like a certain time that you had to make it in?
Yeah, there was a certain time. I
Did
forget.
a lot. What happened if you didn't make it? Like, would they just send
just-
you back home?
No, they wouldn't send you back home. You take a rest and do it again.
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
But I did pretty good. I'll tell you what, when I went to basic training, I weighed 121 pounds.
Yeah.
And when I got out of basic training, I weighed 127 pounds. So I gained 6 pounds.
Yeah. Muscle.
And that's one reason why they wanted me to be a air crewman on a helicopter, because I didn't weigh nothing.
Yeah.
And, the more you weigh, the less weight your helicopter can carry. So that was one reason
Yeah. Well, I think that you did a pretty good job. It seems like.
But I never was afraid of flying, and when I went up my first flight down at Fort Rucker, I had a smile on my face. They said, "Oh, you like it, huh?" I said, "Sure do."
Was that the first time you'd ever flown before, or had you flown?
I'd flown on an airliner, a commercial airliner, a couple times before that, but that was the first time I've flown on a small aircraft.
Yeah.
I had my own airplane for 10 years. I had a Piper Cherokee.
That's cool. Wait, you bought it with your own money?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And would you just like after you got back, you bought one? You bought one?
Oh, I'd been out of the service for 20 years before
Oh, and you bought it because you just liked planes so much.
Well, I got to know Bob Waddell, and the Chevy dealer over here. He
Yeah.
had his own airplane for years.
That's cool. And where would you fly it to?
I didn't do a lot of long distance flying. I flew to Ohio once and Nebraska a couple times.
That's
Iowa
cool.
once or twice.
And would you just fly by yourself?
Oh, I'd take people up with me,
That's cool.
But,
That's awesome.
I
How long
enjoyed
did you
it.
have it for?
10 years. I had it for 10 years. Kept me broke for 10 years. Oh. So you have to have them inspected once a year.
Yeah, and I bet it was expensive too.
Yeah, it was. Cheapest annual inspection I had was $580.
Wow. And what was the name of that plane again?
A Piper Cherokee.
Okay. The Piper Cherokee.
Mhm.
That's cool.
You could get 4 people in it, but it was a tight fit.
Yeah. That's neat though that you
Oh yeah,
had a lot of
enjoyed that.
passion for that.
But I was always kind of a daredevil in school. I had motorcycles and drive fast in cars. When I was in high school, our big thing was, me and a couple of buddies of mine, our big thing was skipping school. Right around town drinking beer. That wasn't cool.
That's funny. Did you guys you went to Illiopolis, didn't you?
Graduated from Illiopolis High School in 1961.
That's awesome. Did you have siblings?
No, I was the only child.
Oh, okay.
And I come to think about it, I was over in Vietnam and flying in those helicopters, and this one guy says, "What are you doing over here?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're the only child in the family." He said, "You could get an exemption." I said, "Well, it's a little too late now, don't you think?" Well, I guess so.
That's funny.
Oh boy.
What did your parents think about you getting drafted? What was?
Well, they didn't have too much to say about it. I mean, because
Couldn't really do anything about it.
no, I couldn't do anything about it. Besides that, one of my buddies, Terry Blakeman, he got drafted the same day I did, so we decided we'd just go and make the best of it.
Yeah, yeah. So what, like your grandparents and your parents all wrote you like letters while you
Oh
were?
yeah, sure. We communicated all the time.
That's cool.
Like I said, when I got to Vietnam, I would get a letter about once every 3 days.
Yeah.
But, it went fast. That was the fastest 12 months of my life.
Wow.
Zoom, gone. Yep. But I kept busy.
Yeah.
Kept busy doing something. Yeah, that's. If you keep busy, time goes by, just
Yeah.
real fast. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Well, thank you so much for.
Glad to do it.
Yeah.
If I could ever find some pictures, I'd show them to you someday.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
There's some. They're hidden in a closet somewhere in my house. I know that. Slides. I did take a few black and white pictures, but I don't think they turned out too well.
How many pictures are there? Like, how many do you think you sent home?
Oh, slides. Probably. Let me see. How many in a tray? 50. I probably sent 150 pictures home.
And what was the money like over there? Like,
Well,
So-
that's different too.
you're
I mean,
spending money? Like, would you?
well, we had military payment certificates, MPCs they called them, and of course the Vietnamese had piasters they called it. That was Vietnamese money,
Okay.
and we would have to exchange. If we was going to go downtown and buy anything off of a Vietnamese vendor or go to
Okay.
a bar down there,
Yeah.
we had to exchange our military money for Vietnamese. You could do that right on the base.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so the people would at the base would give you
Yeah.
the Vietnamese money for
Yeah.
your MPCs.
Yep, that's right.
And what was the Vietnamese money called? You said? Do you know what it was called?
Piasters.
Piasters?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty cool. And did you bring any money overseas with you, or did you just use the MPCs?
Well, we had to exchange our greenbacks, our regular, everyday exchange.
Yeah.
We had to exchange that for military payment certificates before we got on board the ship.
Yeah. What were the supplies like? Like, what supplies did they give you
Well,
while you
we
were there?
just had military rations. They were mostly in cans and packages, and we called those GI rations, I guess you would call it.
Okay, so like, what was your uniform like? Would you wear like a uniform?
Oh yeah, I had to. Hell yes, I had to wear a uniform.
What did it look like? Like,
Just
for the weather, was it like?
it was lightweight.
Oh,
Lightweight.
okay. What
They
color
called
was it?
Green.
Oh, to match in with the
Yeah,
environment.
yeah, green camouflage type. Yeah.
Was there like a flag on it or anything?
We had rank insignia sewed on, and the patches were all green and black.
Okay. Was it like short sleeve?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then would you have like a coat to like
Yeah,
go
we
with
had
it
a-
for the rain?
We had a what they called it, a poncho, and it was a
Was it like plastic?
kind of plastic.
Clear?
It was rubberized cloth.
Okay.
It was just some sort of kind of a plastic, like a raincoat. Yeah. But,
And then would you wear boots every day because of all the water?
yeah, we had to wear combat boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, they issued me a pair of jungle boots, and they lasted longer than combat boots.
When you left, would you like leave all your like boots and your uniform and everything there, or did you take it home with you?
Some of them I took home. A lot of it was left over there.
What all did you take home?
One pair of fatigues, a couple of belts, and a couple pair of boots. That's about it.
Yeah. What are fatigues? The pants?
Oh, I've since wore them out.
Well, like, what is a fatigue? Like, is that a pant? Like the pants that you would wear?
Military style,
Oh,
everyday
okay.
uniform. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, nothing unusual about what's everybody else is wearing.
Yeah.
I never had a flight suit like they wear today.
Yeah.
And I did have a flight helmet, though, I'll say that. Yeah. It was painted white. Well, naturally, we got the paint can out, painted it flat black.
Why?
Well, you stand out like a sore thumb.
Oh, if it was white?
Yeah, white makes
Yeah.
a good target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be bad.
I think even the Air Force pilots painted their white helmets. They painted them flat black, too. Of course, they're several thousand feet up, but
Yeah.
you get shot down, you come down in a parachute. That white helmet stands out pretty good.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. Well, it just, I didn't have a negative attitude.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You got to have a positive attitude. Just like if you're going to be go to school to be a dentist,
Yeah.
orthodontist, or whatever, have a positive attitude when you start.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. Well, it's just like going to high school. You walk in with a bad attitude, you're not going to make it.
Be
very-
successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to be successful. It's basketball, play basketball, same thing.
Yeah.
Got to have a positive attitude.
Yes. Well, thank you for your time.
I appreciate spending some time with you.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me do this.
That's
It
not
was
a problem.
nice.
I hope you have success with your project.
Yeah, thank you.